Nothing contained in this podcast should be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. This content does not represent our respective employers and is purely the opinion of the podcast hosts. We are not your personal medical providers. Sorry, friends. So, if you have concerns or are seeking a diagnosis or treatment, please seek individual advice from a healthcare provider in your area. We are not liable for any risks associated with acting upon the information contained in this podcast. This is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only, so enjoy the ride.
Please drink responsibly and in moderation. Before drinking, please be sure to be of the legal drinking age for your country. We do not encourage the misuse of alcohol.
Welcome to Medical Media Mixer, the perfect cocktail. I'm Nicole Peniston, psychologist.
And I'm Tara Prisco, physician assistant. All right.
So we did a costume change.
Spooky time.
Spooky season. I don't really know what I am. I have my Labubu ears, and then this wig just called to me, so she's coming with us.
I don't know. Yeah, it feels like it's a character that exists, though. Like
it is now. But it's a lot of hair, but I don't hate it. But it's just
I
a
like
lot,
it.
And there's it's a lot.
I've never seen you with so much hair.
I know, it's a lot. It's luxurious.
I'm in my wig for Comic-Con because this will air after. So.
Yes, so you're getting all Lydia Dietz up.
Yeah, this is my Lydia Dietz wig, and I was practicing the makeup, with her, so that'll help things along.
Yeah.
So it's fun stuff.
Fun stuff. We are in the season.
Before Nicole's spooky drink, my drink is in a skull, so that's
Love
fun.
that.
It's a lot of wine though. I was like, after I poured it, I was like, wait, how can I get this?
It's Friday night. Drink up. It's good. So speaking of drinkies, I found this company, this small business that I feel like we need to reach out to. They are called Practical Magic.
Oh,
which I love the movie, but they do like those jarred cocktails, and they've got all different kinds, really based around the movie. But because they've got like such a creative little lineup, I feel like we should reach out to them and see if they can help us with our perfect cocktail.
Are they like local, regional, national?
So I bought it on Amazon, but they are a small business because they have like their own little like shop where they do different teas. They have the cocktails. They do different fun rimming sugars. They also do, they call it tokes. So little non-marijuana smokies to go with your drinks. Yeah, little like herbal smokies to go with stuff. So it's very cute. It's called Practical Magic Botanical Apothecary Herbal Alchemy Elixirs and Mixers.
Ooh, sounds
so
cool.
I had ordered which one did I order? Vanilla Fig Lemontini.
Ooh.
Haven't tried it yet. I just got it yesterday. But when I opened this up and saw all this cute little advertising, I was like, we have to talk about it on the pod. And we will link them also.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got an Instagram and like really cute stuff. So
cool.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I am ready for all of it. Let's do Halloween. Let's do the fall. Get me some comfy like clothes. Let's like do this. I'm ready.
I know. I'm ready for sweatshirts, sweater season.
Yes.
I got a very cute cardigan in the mail today. It's just like plain black button down cardigan, to throw over something. But it has little embroidered pumpkins and vines on it.
Aw, so
and I can't wait to wear it. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of embroidery, oldest child's new hobby that she decided on 2 nights ago, she's going to learn how to embroider. And you know what? Like, more power to you. You look up a YouTube video on pretty much anything nowadays. So she used her own money to buy. She was doing crocheting for a while and she was making like these little characters. But yeah, I was like, sure. So she used her money to buy the little supplies she needed and she's trying a little bit of embroidery. So yeah, that's fun. I was saying it's kind of like old lady crafts are coming back for the kids.
They definitely are. Yeah. Yeah. And this is totally off topic, but I feel like because we followed it from the beginning to now, we do have to congratulate Selena on her wedding over the weekend. This is not a Selena we know, it's Selena Gomez and Benny, but we are so happy for them.
They're so cute.
Yeah. Yeah. And her pictures looked gorgeous. She looked beautiful as always, but
absolutely. No, it's really sweet. It's really cute. Yeah. Like,
and she
I don't
looked
know.
like truly happy. So it was
that's
it's good to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it wasn't, obviously I'm sure it was a big affair, but it at least the pictures felt intimate. Like,
yes,
their, their time.
Yes. So congratulations to them. We love you guys. I know you don't know who we are, but we still love you anyway.
That's okay.
Yeah. So should I get into it?
Sure.
So
we are going all out.
For our official Halloween-y episode, I'm doing a lot. I'm covering 3 different movies.
Okay.
And my cocktail is named after one of those movies. So my cocktail is called The Activator. So bum, bum, bum. And if you know what movie this is, you win extra points, but it is from The Substance, starring Demi Moore, which came out last year. So the Substance-inspired Activator Martini is 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of banana liqueur, 1 ounce of Midori, 2 ounces of pineapple juice, and 1 ounce of lemon juice. You add all of that to a martini glass. It could barely fit in my martini glass, all that liquor. You just stir it gently, and then you draw it up into the food-safe syringe, and then serve immediately. So I guess I should take it now, because it does.
Yes.
It's kind of like cloudy.
We haven't done a shot in a while.
Oh boy, here we go. Let me take off the top.
We will cheer you on.
Ready?
All right. It's going in. Shot, 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 shots, shots, shots. Woo! And it was bright yellow neon looking.
Yes, which I'm going to talk about the Substance in a couple minutes. I'll talk about it last, since it's what the cocktail's focused on. But in the Substance, there is a shot called the Activator, and it looks exactly the same crazy.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
It's kind of like neon almost.
Yes. So my topic for today is talking about body horror movies. So the first one I'm going to talk about is kind of a throwback, but I feel like you probably heard about this one because it was definitely a cult classic rumored movie when we were in like high school, called Teeth. Have you seen or heard about Teeth?
No, I'm like going to be completely oblivious to all of these.
Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. So
I'm not against horror. It's just not something I always look for.
So I'm not a huge like jump scare horror type movie. I like more psychological horror, and I do at least these movies that I'm talking about today. I did enjoy these type of horror movies because they weren't overly gory. We'll get to that, but I liked the plot line of them. And not only am I talking about body horror movies, I am talking about a very specific genre of body horror, which is feminine body horror, feminist-centered body horror.
So give me a definition of what body horror is before we
Well, thank you for asking. I'm glad you did, because I've got it right up here. So body horror, or also known as biological horror, is a subgenre of horror fiction that intentionally showcases grotesque or psychologically disturbing violations of the human body or of another creature. So this would be classified as like zombie movies, disease movies, mutation movies, mutilation movies, all of that kind of stuff. And it does have its roots in more gothic literature like Frankenstein, things like that. That's kind of where all that stuff started. And then the feminist body horror is a very specific genre, which has kind of grown over the last couple of decades, focusing on how women look at our bodies and what is considered beauty, which is not considered beautiful, or what it means to be a woman or a female. And a lot of it tends to be related to kind of this own body horror that we all go through every month, menstruation or periods, things like that. And then the changes that we go through throughout our lives due to hormones. So the Substance itself, which I'll talk about last, made history in 2025 when it was the first horror movie nominated in 5 categories at the Academy Awards, including Best Picture. No other horror movies or body horror movies had ever been nominated for a large award like that. So let's see. I don't remember. Did we read it in high school? I know I read it in high school. Did you read Metamorphoses in high school?
Oh, yes.
That's also a body horror book. Yes. So Kafka. That falls into the same genre, even though they didn't necessarily kind of sell it to us like that. It is technically a body horror movie. Those of you who haven't read Metamorphoses, it is a man who is turning into a bug.
And who plays him in the movie, the old movie? It's someone very famous.
I didn't watch the movie.
No, yeah. I literally just saw a reference to it. It's like somebody uber famous, like, but this was a long time ago.
Well, we're on a computer. Let's Google it.
Yeah. Who was in Metamorphoses?
Novella by Franz Kafka, which I was going to say Franz Kafka, and then I was like, I think I might be wrong.
Kafka's right. Yep.
Yeah. Who played him in the movie? I never saw the movie.
Are you looking it up?
No? 2012 film.
No, there's an old one.
Oh. Sorry.
This movie. Yeah, not that one. Not a South Korean one either.
Yeah.
Old. Why? I don't understand.
Maybe you're thinking about old. The Fly.
Oh, maybe I am thinking
which is Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
That's Jeff
Goldblum.
Yes,
I'm crossing
You're crossing genres, but it is the same genre of body horror. It's just not based on the book.
I'm thinking of The Fly.
Yes,
you're
so
right.
That was
But I
Jeff
did
Goldblum.
read Metamorphoses, and I think I've seen The Fly.
Yes.
I guess that must be it.
So Teeth was a 2007 American comedy horror. I watched it again. I didn't think it was very funny, but whatever. It was a comedy horror that's the plot of the movie is a teenage girl named Dawn is a spokesperson for a Christian abstinence group. And she often hears her stepbrother, Brad, and his girlfriend arguing, being violent, arguments about anal sex versus vaginal sex, and, a lot of highly inappropriate topics for very young teenagers. Like they're like freshmen of high school, very young. And then throughout the movie, there's kind of these flashbacks forward and backward about what's going on. But there is an allusion in the very first scene of the movie to her stepbrother, Brad, trying to molest her when they were very young. Mm-hmm. And all you see is the two of them in a baby pool. She's maybe 3 or 4 and he's maybe 5 or 6. And the two of them are like, normal kid arguing, and their parents are all over each other because it seems like they just got married. They're not biologically related, they're step siblings. And so the parents really aren't paying attention. They're too busy making out, on the side, and the kids are arguing. And then Brad, all you see is him kind of stick his hand under the water. And then you see Dawn's face be really uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden you hear Brad like scream and his finger's bleeding. So that's all you see in the first scene. You don't really know what's happening, but there's some allusions to that Dawn caused this injury to Brad, but we don't really know how. Mm-hmm. So later on in the movie, Dawn is really struggling with trying to fit in with this uber Christian group and really be all abstinence and things like that. But she's a teenager and she's curious, and there's this boy that she really likes, and they hang out together. They go off swimming by to this like local swimming hole by each other, and they start kissing and like kind of making out, wanting to go further. But when it starts to get a little bit more heated, Dawn says, "No, I'm not ready for this," and his name is Toby, this boy. Toby gets really, really upset, becomes violent, and essentially makes an attempt to sexually assault her. But as he attempts to do that, she fights back, and somehow, we don't quite know how, his penis is cut off.
Oh.
In the process.
Got it.
And Dawn
Lorena Bobbitt there.
Yeah, she freaks out, doesn't know what happened, just knows, she told him to stop, and now he's injured, and he's screaming, and she's crying, and she kind of jumps because they're like on this like rock off in this like cave swimming hole. So she just like swims away and is like, I can't deal with this. And then we come to realize Toby never shows back up again. We never see or hear from Toby again. And essentially Toby dies from his injury because he's bleeding so much because his penis is fully
right. Removed. And so all that blood,
a lot of blood loss. And then he's, off in this cave by himself. He's in a lot of pain, so he can't swim out. So it's unclear if he drowns to death or if he dies from blood loss, but he does die.
Okay.
And so after this, Dawn is really horrified about what happened. She doesn't know what happened to Toby. She doesn't realize he didn't make it, but she's also really concerned about her own body. And so she goes to see a gynecologist to make sure she's still intact, because that means a lot to her. And, she thinks she probably still is, but she goes to the doctor anyway, just to make sure. So she goes to the gynecologist's office, and he's like this really gross, schmarmy guy who's already just kind of like this good-looking teenage girl is coming in here, and she wants me to check her virginity. I'm going to check her virginity. Like really gross. And essentially he's taking it too far. It's not a typical exam. And at one point he takes his glove off. So then it's like not a real exam. And in the process, same thing happens. This doctor loses 3 of his fingers.
Aha! I have made all the connections.
And so now we're coming to realize something's going on down there
in
for
the nether
our dear
regions.
Dawn. Yes.
Ouch.
So, spoiler alert, Dawn has what we call vagina dentata. So tell me, do you know about vagina dentata?
I mean, it sounds like teeth in your vagina, but
It sounds like teeth in the vagina. So it's kind of controversial because it's on the fence about if it's real or not. So as you know, biologically, teeth can grow in places where they're not supposed to. They're not full like teeth in your mouth.
Right,
but
exactly. You can have a teratoma, which is an ovarian tumor that has teeth in it.
Yes. And so it is something that can happen. And apparently the true rare, very rare medical condition is a vaginal dermoid cyst, which can contain teeth.
So dermoid cyst is another name for teratoma. They're the same thing. So they're undifferentiated like cells that just happen to end up there that form those things. Yeah.
Yes. But vagina dentata is actually based on a folk tradition that the vagina is set to contain teeth as a defense mechanism against sexual assault. And so there's kind of a very long folk history around why this occurred. It's happened in many cultures throughout history, so it's not just a one thing. And it's more of a cautionary tale about, men shouldn't be sleeping with strange women, discouraging sexual assault or rape or things like that. And so there was a psychologist, Eric Newman, who wrote that in one such myth, a fish inhabits the vagina of the terrible mother, and the hero is the man who overcomes the terrible mother, breaks the teeth out of her vagina, and so makes her into a woman.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know who this Eric dude is, but I think he needs to stay in his lane.
Yeah, really. Like, no, let's not break through there. They're there for a reason.
Exactly.
Keep you out.
So this vagina dentata folk mythology occurs in South America, North America, Hinduism, Inuit legends, Maori mythology, Western Asia. It's throughout the world. And so my perception of that is that there has to be some biological truth to it, to all of these very varied cultures having a very similar story.
Right.
I don't think it's quite to the extent that happens in the movie Teeth or that people are alluding to. I don't think you necessarily have muscular control over this dermoid cyst, but it's definitely something that has gone on for some time. And then there's a book called The Sexual Personae in 1991, written by Camille Paglia. And she wrote, "The toothed vagina is no sexist hallucination. Every penis is made less in every vagina, just as mankind, male and female, is devoured by Mother Nature." So talking about it being more of this, more...
Right.
I'm losing the words, but
Mother Earth, Gaia.
Yeah, more of this larger scope, and this is just kind of the cautionary tale about it.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the movie Teeth. Apparently in 2024, it was made into an off-Broadway musical.
What?
I did not know that.
What exactly are they doing? Like, vagina, teeth, vagina.
I don't know. But there's a sequence in which the cast female ensemble transforms into the principles of Dentata, a mythological goddess, and castrates the male cast members with their vaginas.
Okay.
I didn't know about this until I started looking into it.
I mean,
it didn't really make a whole lot of, I didn't see it advertised. So.
Nope. Very off-Broadway.
Right. But as we were saying, a dermoid cyst, a specific type of tumor, may grow in the vagina. They tend to be formed on the outer layers of the embryonic skin cells, and they mature into different types of tissues. Teeth can be one of those types of tissues. But again, it appears more as like a lump. It's not necessarily recognizable with teeth. It might have like harder teeth-like substances in it, but it's not like...
full on.
It's not like a jaw that you can control and be biting. Yeah.
I picture like what is an eel? Like those round mouth with like the teeth coming in like that. That's exactly
and that's kind of, I feel like, how the myth goes.
Right.
That's what this is. So in the movie Teeth, basically, once Dawn realizes, like, yes, my girl down there can bite things if she is threatened.
Right.
And so then she tries to explore more of her own sexuality. So she does engage in a little bit of masturbation to see, like, if she can feel the teeth, if she can control them. And then she finds, through her own exploration and then exploration with this other boy, that when she is more relaxed and is consenting, the teeth are not an issue. And so she starts having fun with her newfound sexuality. And she finds this one particular boy who she's really enjoying exploring sex with, but she clearly is not attached to him. It's really just like, I figured out how to use my power. I'm going to use it. I'm going to have fun. Right. And then at one point, she overhears this boy, Ryan, talking to one of his friends, basically boasting that he got this prudish girl to have sex with him. And so she purposefully then has sex with him to bite off his penis.
She's like Lorena with no knife needed. She is
Lorena minus the abuse, minus the trauma, and she's just going to it. So this movie continues on. She does have an interaction with the stepbrother who also attempts to assault her, and again she bites him and castrates him. And that is more purposeful. Like she kind of lures him into sex to do that. But he's definitely like still coming on to her, trying to be inappropriate, and she lets him go for it. So then after this, she runs away from home because she essentially killed her brother, stepbrother. So she runs away from home. And at the very end of the movie, you see her hitchhiking, and this older man picks her up, and he seems very polite, very nice, whatever. And then he takes her to a store and essentially is like, well, what do I get? You know, I drove you here. What do I get? And she just smiles, and you can kind of tell like what's going to happen next. So that is one movie about body horror.
Interesting.
Another movie about body horror is the 2024 American black comedy horror called Nightbitch with
I've heard of this, but I can't
Amy Adams.
Okay, I pictured Amy Adams. I don't think I've watched it. I think I've seen a like an advertisement, but never watched it.
Yeah, so I watched this almost by accident. Like I love Amy Adams, so
yeah, me too.
But I wasn't like sitting down like I'm going to watch a horror movie. It was just I was scrolling through, I clicked on it, it started playing in the background. I was watching it, and then I tend to watch a lot of television shows or movies in the background, but this one caught my attention right away. And so I put aside what I was doing and really focused on it. So the plot of Nightbitch is that Amy Adams plays, I can't find her character name. Interesting. I don't think she has a character name. She doesn't. She is Mother. Because in the movie, basically, you see her, she is a new mother, and she's kind of coming to terms with what that means for her, the changes in her body, her new life role, because her whole life has changed. She's a stay-at-home mom. And so we find out over the course of the film that she had to give up her career as an artist to stay at home with her 2-year-old son. And now her life is very different from what it used to be. She used to be very creative and very social. And now she's kind of isolated, stuck at home, doesn't know who she is or what she is anymore other than a mother, which I guess that's very symbolic about how you never learn her name. And so throughout this, you see her getting very bored, having a lot of hormonal shifts, which it's unclear if it's, something along the lines of postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety, but basically like other people are kind of to think like something's off with her. Like she's starting to snap at people, and she has these fantasies about like screaming at people or yelling at them, barking at them, biting at them. And then there's this really funny, I think it's a funny scene because I think Amy Adams can be very funny sometimes, even when she doesn't mean to be. So she's taking a shower and she's kind of like washing her hair, and she thinks like some hair like drifted down her back, which, TMI, but we've all been there when we're like, oh, what the heck is that back there? Right?
Yep.
So, and she comes to realize the hair is a tail. She's growing a tail, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, I have a tail? And she's like at first she's like, oh, like my nipples changed after breastfeeding and things like that. And then she starts to develop additional nipples on her stomach.
Okay.
And the tail, heightened senses, so a heightened sense of smell, sensitivity to smell, heightened hearing. And she becomes convinced that she's turning into a dog. Mm-hmm. So, of course, at this point, people are assuming that she's having some hormonal issues, some psychiatric issues or things like that, but she's just convinced. And so she's trying to kind of keep it together so people don't think she's crazy. And so she starts doing things like purposely taking her son to the dog park. So like he thinks it's just to play with the dogs, but like she is like checking these other dogs out. And there's one scene where she like kind of encourages her son to like eat out of a dog bowl and sleep in a dog bed.
Okay.
But I will say the child, he's very hyperactive for like a 2-year-old. And for some reason, he just like takes to it. Like, and he does it and it helps calm him down. So she's like, thank God. So there's just one scene where like he's napping in the dog bed and she like climbs in next to him and like they're snuggled together like two puppies asleep. And so she's still like kind of figuring out like what's going on. And then there's a flashback to she was raised Mennonite. And so she had a very strict upbringing. There were a lot of, things that she wasn't able to do. And you get this illusion that her becoming an artist kind of broke her out of that society. And now she feels like she's getting pulled back into a more restrictive society.
Right.
So, and then she has memories of running on all fours and her mother making like these unusual stews and food. And she's wondering, like, is this maybe more witch magical sort of thing? Like, where's this coming from? Because they're very distinct memories, not just like fantasies. So then she does some research and she finds this book that talks about mythological transformations of women during certain periods in their life. And so she's still like, okay, this must be happening to me. This must be me. And so it goes to the point where she, during these transformations, which always occur at night, hence Nightbitch, where she envisions herself transforming into a dog and running the streets with dogs at night. And then the next morning she wakes up and there's dead animals on her front lawn, and she realizes she did that. She killed the animals, including the family's pet cat.
Oh no.
So now she's like kind of freaking out, like, is this really me? Did I do that? So her husband starts asking questions about her weird behavior and they have a big argument, and then they decide to do a trial separation. And so once she's separated from him, she's really kind of questioning herself, and she starts working on another art project and connects with some of her old artistic friends. And that really is helping her grasp her true self again. And then she has, as she's working on this project, she has some sort of revelation that her mother went through the same thing that she did. That she feels like her mother also turned into a dog at night and had this night bitch properties after motherhood. And so she is now assuming that her son's rebelliousness, his hyperactivity, is that she passed on this animal trait to him, which actually helps her come to just accept his behavior and who she is, instead of trying to, rein him in, because she feels like she was being reined in. So then the separation, she just goes back to her whole art life. She does eventually fully divorce from her husband. And then we see in the future, she gives birth to a daughter, and it's kind of like, now she's passing it on to another woman who's going to have this thing. And so obviously there's a lot of parallels to the changes of womanhood and motherhood and what it means to be and finding yourself. But it was a really good movie, but it is technically considered body horror because her body's going through these bizarre, unknown changes. Yeah. But it was a really good movie. I would recommend it to people because I think it's a really good allegory about womanhood, motherhood, and how it changes you, either literally or theoretically or both. And then what it means to be a woman. And at the end of the movie, there's a clip where she's still running the streets at night with like a pack of dogs, but now she's happy. And it's like, finding herself, owning herself again. And then finally, the movie The Substance with Demi Moore, 2024 body horror film. The plot of this movie is Demi Moore plays an aging actress who is essentially getting pushed out of her long-term role as a famous, like Jane Fonda type character actress, but like running this exercise show, everything like that. And essentially she's getting pushed out because they're saying she's too old because she just turned 50. And so she's very resentful, very upset, but also kind of sees it like, yes, all of these other older actresses are getting pushed out too. I'm not alone. And she's not ready to give it up. So she finds out through some strange ways that there is this company that can help women maintain their youth. And so she decides to sign up with this company to get this substance, a black market drug that promises younger, more beautiful, more perfect version of oneself. So she does take the substance, and essentially what happens is the substance separates you into two parts. So it's her older shell and then her younger self, who is essentially birthed from her back.
Okay.
Yes. And so while the younger self is out and about in the world, the older self is kind of like in this coma-like state. But they can only each have 7 days active, and you have to switch. Like it's kind of that returning that continues to make the substance work. And yet there's all these rules that you have to do about if you're going to use the substance and you're going to take it, you have to follow these rules, or else.
This is like Severance meets body horror, sort of like you're two different selves, sort of a thing.
Yeah. So the Activator serum, which I took, is what keeps you being able to do it. And if you're not taking the stabilizer fluid, which keeps the two people from dying off, bad things happen. But
so
what's happening,
like in your life, people who see you, like you're young, you're old every other week?
No, so they think that you're a totally different person. So that's what I was about to get to. So the lead character, the Demi Moore character, her name is Elizabeth Sparkle. But when younger Elizabeth comes out, she calls herself Sue. So Sue comes out, and there's this really remarkable scene where right before she takes the substance, you see Demi Moore standing in front of a mirror. She'd been crying. She was upset. So her makeup's all, dripping down, and she just looks really sad and tired. And she's standing there stark naked. And Demi Moore is a gorgeous
Seriously.
woman.
And I was going to say, she's playing somebody who's 50 who thinks they're aging, but she's got to be like 60 something. Like, yes. But she looks amazing.
Yes. So she looks phenomenal. But then you see her younger version, played by Margaret Qualley, who's Sue, played by Margaret Qualley, and you see her naked, and then you're like, oh, yeah, girl, I get it. Like, because everything is just firmer, plumper, brighter, tighter. Yeah. And they're both gorgeous, stunning women, amazing actresses. But like when you see Sue, you get it. Right. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so essentially they have to do this planning where they switch back and forth. And the one who is not active has to be retained on this particular substance to keep them alive, essentially. And both have to remain alive in order for both to survive. So the first week or two goes great. Sue goes out, gets a job right away because she knows what she's doing. She's done this for 50 years, but she looks like she's 21. So right away, she essentially gets Elizabeth Sparkle's old job. So that works out for them both, right? It's the same person.
Right.
So now, she's a star. Everybody loves her. She's great and she's sexy and she's hot and she's owning it. And Sue, it goes to her head. She just is confident and hedonistic, and she's going out and she's having sex with everyone and drinking and partying every night and just living the best life. And then when she has to switch back to Elizabeth's miserable because she has no job. She can't go out. She has no, there was this one guy who, apparently she knew in high school, and she tried to go out on a date with him, and he it was underwhelming for her. And so even though he was very sweet and very nice and clearly very into her at who she is, it just wasn't as exciting as she had wanted to. So Elizabeth reverts to binge eating, laying around, not doing anything. So then when Sue comes out and she sees the results of all that, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're ruining it for us. Why are you doing this? So now it becomes contentious between the two of them. And so Sue decides she's going to take over. She's not going to do the switchback once a week like they need to do, which obviously is going to cause a lot of problems.
Dun, dun, dun.
So meanwhile, Sue is, she's getting all the jobs, making all the money. She's the hot new star. Everybody loves her. And Elizabeth, not so much. She did have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but it's kind of one of those older stars nobody cares about anymore. Oh, who's that? I don't know who that is. And they even show pictures where the actual star on the walk starts to crack and somebody spills ice cream on it, and it's like that's how she feels. So essentially, Sue, in order to try to stop herself from aging, she then is just holding all of the serum for herself and not giving any to Elizabeth, assuming that she'll be fine. But what happens is it goes really bad, and essentially I'm talking really.
We feel turning the crypt keeper here.
Worse. So basically what happens is they take this company that is regulating this, they kind of catch on to that Sue and Elizabeth are not using it as intended, and so they cut off their supply. And so they're using the last of it, and then when the last of the injection is used, the two of them have to merge, and they essentially come out as this grotesque, mutilated, literally there's two heads, and it's loopy, and it's disgusting, and it's called Montruso Elizasu. Is the name that has this grotesque body with both of their faces. But Sue, part of this monstro, she's delusional. She's well, I'm still I have to show up for this New Year's Eve show that I'm going to be the host of. I have to do everything. So she literally cuts out a picture of herself and tapes it to this grotesque body and just goes about stuff. And at first it seems nobody notices. And so she's just going with it. And I'm the fuck? How is no one noticing this? Like, she's literally like 3 times the size, like an arm up here. Like, it's disgusting. So she goes to host this New Year's Eve show and steps out on stage. And of course, the audience is horrified. And so then the audience erupts into chaos. People are screaming. Her paper mask falls off. Disguise, they call it.
Right.
Paper mask falls off. And she becomes even more mutilated, like, as this is happening, and an arm breaks off, and then there's like blood spurting in the audience, and then she's literally like pieces of her body are falling off. It's like disgusting. And so she's trying to flee the studio and literally just explodes, like body pieces everywhere.
Okay.
And the movie ends with just the face of Demi Moore making it to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame before completely melting and then being cleaned up by a floor scrubber the next day.
Oh, so sad.
So that's The Substance. It was a wild ride, folks. I didn't know what I was in for. It's kind of told in 3 parts. So the first 2 parts were like really intriguing about, you know, what it means to be a woman in Hollywood, what it means to age, blah, 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 what beauty is. But that last bit with like the blood spurting and the melting and it was a lot.
I mean, everything you've covered it really embodies different stages of a woman's life and
exactly
different things that they may come up against: motherhood, aging, sexual assault. I mean, all of it.
And that's why I chose those 3 movies, because I feel like it really did speak to the feminine experience of what we all experience. But just to give you an idea, it used extensive prosthetic makeup and practical effects, including suits, puppetry, dummies, insert shots, so like having cameras like inside the suit, and approximately 21,000 liters of fake blood, or 5,500 gallons of fake blood.
Wow. Wow. I can't even envision that.
Yeah. And so, like I said before, this movie made it all the way to like the Academy Awards. She was nominated. Demi Moore was nominated for Best Actress. Yeah. And I do think it's because of more the deeper meaning of the story.
Of course.
I would bet that gore at the end was what made her not get the award, but she didn't do that. It was just part of the movie. But she did win a Golden Globe and a Critics' Choice Award and the Screen Actors Guild Award for it, which I remember when she won, I think it was the Golden Globe came first. She said that in her entire career, she'd never won an award.
Wow.
Yeah.
Demi Moore.
Iconic Demi Moore had never won an award in her entire career.
That's amazing if you think about it.
I think it's also like crazy. Like, for all the movies, this is the one she wins the award for.
But it's just so out there, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, she's had some really amazing films in the past, like Indecent Proposal, G.I. Jane. Like, she's a phenomenal actress, but I think this probably really spoke to larger social issues, and that's why it got far. So yeah. So that is The Substance. So I'm going to talk about any guesses about how that relates to psychology?
Craziness. I don't know.
I'm going to talk about body dysmorphic disorder.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Of the way we see ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So body dysmorphic disorder is a mental health disorder in which you are so upset about the appearance of your body or the perceived appearance of your body that you are not able to live normally. So you may not want to go out in public, or have a perceived flaw that you're constantly trying to hide or disguise or cover up. And so it can really cause a lot of difficulty socializing because you're not comfortable in your own skin to go out in public or to socialize, to date, to go to work, to have friends. And then you can even spend hours a day obsessing over that particular perceived defect, but that is exactly what it is. It is a perceived defect. So there's nothing actually biologically there. So it's not like you have, a giant birthmark on your face and you're really ashamed of it, or that you have some sort of disability that you are not comfortable with. There is actually nothing physically there, but you think that there is. And this can actually happen also in women or men, happens in all people. But if you've had a significant life change. So, if you used to be a certain weight or appearance, and then for some whatever reason, good or bad, you look totally different now, you can have a really hard time seeing yourself for what is actually happening.
Right.
And so seeing what is actually in the mirror versus what you think is in the mirror. So no one knows the exact cause of it, but it usually begins in adolescence or teenage years. And experts say that it's about 1 in every 100 people has it to some degree. So obviously not everybody has it to the debilitating degree, but it does occur quite frequently. And both men and women tend to be affected equally. And so
well, I was going to say, kind of two things. One, I'm sure that this is a large contributor to eating disorders.
Yes.
But
and also OCD.
The other thing was, I guess, now with social media and seeing other people in their whatever and comparing yourself, I'm sure that feeds into it.
Absolutely. And the perfection that is,
that is
insisted
not real,
on social media. Nobody's putting their ugly ass pictures on social media. Let's be honest.
Really?
No one is doing it. And if they are, they're doing it for a very specific reason. It's very calculated. But it's funny. A common misconception about body dysmorphic disorder is that it's about vanity, but it's actually not. It's actually about, and it can involve, we're still doing research on it, can be about that abnormality in the visual perception of things. And we've talked about that in other episodes before. So very similar to that. And it can include those difficult to control obsessions and compulsions, like I said before, similar to OCD. However, people with body dysmorphia tend to have less insight than folks with OCD. So they're less aware that this is actually not a flaw.
Right.
And I think that makes sense because if it's about you and your body, it doesn't matter what someone else tells you. It's like the same thing. Like if someone's like, oh, you lost weight, you look great. If you're just not feeling good that day, you don't care. You don't feel like you look great, even if you really do. And so I think it goes from there and leads on. The most common areas of concern are skin, hair, nose, chin, lips, chest, and legs. And it can also be related to shape, size, color, position, or symmetry. I feel like we see a lot about symmetry a lot of times in these type of obsessions. But, a lot of people, they don't like the size of their breast or the size of their butt or the shape of their legs or the color of their eyes, things like that. It can be quite a range of things. The most common age of onset is 12 to 13. And about two-thirds, about two-thirds of people with body dysmorphic dysphoria have an onset before the age of 18. So
I always confuse dysmorphia and dysphoria. My brain, those two words.
Dysmorphic means like shape of, design.
Right.
Of.
And dysphoria means like your perception of, right?
It means feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this is body dysmorphic.
Right.
The shape
so
of,
what you're right. But like my
morphology.
Brain keeps switching.
Yeah. I mean, they sound a lot alike. It makes sense. Yeah. So what else was I going to say? About 2 to 5% of adults in the U.S. struggle with it, both men and women, like I said. 9 to 11% of dermatology patients, 13 to 15% of cosmetic surgery patients, 20% of rhinoplasty surgery patients, and 11% of adult jaw corrective surgery patients have it. Also, about 5 to 13% of adult orthodontia or cosmetic dentistry patients have it. And so I know that we've all seen on social media, those people who get the plastic surgery to look like Britney Spears or to look like this person or look like that person. So that's a more, exaggerated version of it. I don't know if you remember, because she was big in like the 80s and 90s. There was that woman who did the plastic surgery to look like a cat.
Yes.
She had passed away, I think, a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
And she was, I want to say she was at least in her 70s when she passed away. So,
yeah.
But that is the more extreme version of this.
But that's the other thing, because now plastic surgery and Botox and fillers have become such more mainstream. Like growing up, that was like rich people can do that. Who can do that? But now it's so mainstream that I feel like that feeds into it and almost creates more, because you're seeing these quote fingers, perfect faces, perfect bodies online or whatever.
And social media, I think, definitely contributes to it. There's this aesthetic perfection expectation for so many people, not just women, also men.
Yeah.
I think I would assume too, and I don't have the stats on this, so don't quote me on it. I would assume it's very similar to for trans individuals. There is an ideal trans person to look at. It's not, you don't want to just transform to, let's say, male to female. You want to transform from male to drop dead gorgeous female.
Right.
So it's that same sort of like unrealistic expectation that, if that's who you want to be, if you're doing it in a healthy way or a way that works for you, that's fine. But if this is now coming to where you avoid mirrors, avoid social activities, always asking other people if you look okay, constantly comparing yourself, over exercising, trying to hide yourself, that's where it's now crossed the line. And it can lead to anxiety, depression, thoughts of suicide, self-harm, things like that. So it can get quite severe if it's not addressed appropriately.
Absolutely. And especially in those young, like that middle school age, 12, 13, you're sort of starting to form your view of the world and of yourself. And that's where you hear about these young children and cutting and doing, things like that because of their perception of themselves. It's really sad.
Yeah. And, I'm not going to talk a ton about it because it's now kind of bridging the gap into other stuff, but I am sure that there is a big correlation with eating disorders, as you were discussing before. I think that's maybe, I guess it kind of is maybe a more refined version where it's looking just at weight versus over other things. But we also know that eating disorders can come from other things as well. Like ARFID is more of a restrictive eating disorder due to texture and sensory issues. So I don't want to lump everything together when there are distinctions. But if you go to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America website, there is a whole page on body dysmorphic disorder. And then the best way to treat it would be therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy can be very helpful. Antidepressants, like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, like Prozac, Zoloft, Lexapro, all of those things can be helpful. That tends to be the first line of medication treatment for it.
But I would think this is therapy heavy.
And it's the combination, the combination of cognitive behavioral therapy or ACT, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. The combination of that with the medication is helpful because these people, by the time they're getting to therapy, they're so distressed that we need the medication to at least take the edge off so you can learn those coping skills.
Because they've almost rewired their thought process.
Exactly, yeah. And so we will link the ADAA, that's the Anxiety and Depression Association of America link in there, but they've also got a lot of really nice articles on personal stories about it, finding relief, after working through therapy from it, where you can get treatment for these things if you need it, and understanding, why it occurs. There's also a podcast called The Mirror Lies, Unmasking Body Dysmorphic Disorder. So if that's something you're interested in, check them out. And then there's a blog called It's Not Just OCD, about physical appearance, understanding body dysmorphic disorder. And then I think the best way to end this conversation is talking about tips on body positivity. So ways to look at our body in more positive ways. So this may be a very vulnerable question for you, so I will answer it first. I do not have a healthy body image. I do not have a healthy relationship with my image. I'm constantly working on it. I'm very aware of it. I try to, dispel or change those cognitive distortions, as we call it in my field, about my appearance, but it's hard. It's a daily battle. And I don't feel like I have body dysmorphic disorder. So I think it's something that is very difficult to work on. But I think one thing that this blog, talking about body positivity, talks about are little things, making sure that you're monitoring your social media and getting rid of those hyper unrealistic, heavily edited, perfectional images and looking more at real life things, or getting rid of that toxic messages on your social media, wearing what feels good for you, worrying less about, I need to fit into this size, or I need to, have my boobs up high, and just what feels comfortable, what feels good, what makes me feel confident. And then I like this. I have never actually done it. Maybe I need to try it. Like, leaving little positive notes for yourself around places. On the mirror, especially. That's a big one. Actually, that's a lie. I have a sticker on the mirror in my bedroom that says, "Girl, you look great." So like little things like that, even though it seems silly, I think the continued exposure to that positive body messages can really help change you over time.
Yeah. I think that my own, journey is, when I was younger, everything came easy. You didn't feel like you needed to wear much makeup. I had glossy hair. I was super skinny because I just naturally was, and I didn't have to think about anything. I would say definitely in my late 30s, I went through a lot of health stuff and sort of just didn't feel good in my own skin. And then I really definitely feel that in the past year and a half to 2 years, my health's been under control, and I've gotten my own, I was never obese, but my weight tipped at a point that was beyond what I'd ever been in my life. And I've gotten that under control to a point where I feel healthy, not skinny, healthy.
Yeah. And that's important.
But I do notice that now tipping on 46 in a few days. Now I do see like, oh, my skin is a little droopy here, or my, things are not quite where they were. But I have always, since I was very young, before fillers and like I said, all these things were a big thing said, like I'd never do that, because aging gracefully can be beautiful. Like aging gracefully and letting your smile line shine through can be like an amazing thing. Like you see some of those women in Hollywood who did just let it go, and they have that just radiance. And so I'm continuing to try and embrace that, as long as I feel healthy and I take care of myself, that will shine through, and there's no need to focus on every little tiny little line or droop. But I think a lot of us are in that age where that's where we are.
And I think too, like, looking at how much weight you're giving it, is your appearance your self-worth? Like it shouldn't be an equal correlation.
Oh no!
Of course, everyone's going to think some of their appearance is included in that, but it shouldn't be the only thing that's taken into account. And I like how this article talks about body neutrality. So instead of thinking good or bad, thinking neutral, thinking acceptance. So I really like this suggestion, is writing a letter of gratitude to your body. So not just about the appearance, how it's gotten you through illnesses, how it's helped you live this long. If, you've accomplished something, like I was able to walk this far and my body got me there, I'm able to sing, I'm able to dance, I'm able to do this, like thinking of the other things that your body does for you, and being grateful for that, not just appearance. And then also accepting that body image distress can be normal. You're going to have a day where you feel like you look like crap, or that you feel like crap. Or like, I love those days when I'm just feeling myself and I look in the mirror, I'm like, yes, queen. Like, yes. Like Deb just saw the clip from our distillery, that Tree City, and she was like, you look so pretty. And I'm like, I know, thank you. I don't feel super pretty every day, but in that one, I can like look at myself and be like, yes.
I think your fabulous hair right now, for sure.
My fabulous fake hair.
I think you need to grow out your hair.
You
have natural curls.
I do have my curls can look like this if I take care of them. So, and my actual color is close to this color.
Right.
It's not what
exactly.
And then obviously, if you're really, and you want to like focus on those other values. So your intelligence, your friendships, your kindness, your connections, all your creativity, focusing on other parts of yourself, not just your image.
Yeah.
That's also important. And then obviously, if you're really, really struggling, connecting with a therapist and sitting down and talking about this stuff and getting the help, so that it's not taking over your whole life.
Yeah. And I think building up our youth, like our kids, especially young women, and telling them like all of their qualities.
Yeah.
You're such a good athlete. You are so smart. You're so funny. You can sing so great. You make me, smile. Like trying your, because those are the genuine, those are the things that are important.
And really paying attention to those messages we give to our young girls, since we're talking about feminism and body horror, is, it's not just you're pretty, it's you're smart, like you're fast, like you are silly, thinking of all those other qualities that are also just as good as attractiveness.
Yeah. Just on the topic of sort of these empowering women things, there's 3 books that I've read in the past year and a half that I'd like to shout out, because I think that people would really get some value from them. One is called Wayward, but W-E-Y.
I've heard of that one before.
Generational magic of women, but their hardships. Another one called The Grace Year, which is also very interesting. And it's about sort of that puberty-ish becoming a woman age. And then when I read this year, When Women Were Dragons, which is...
I saw that. I didn't get it yet, though.
The 1950s, and women start just dragoning. Like they leave their cheating husbands. They just decide, I'm going to dragon. And they're all about like the female experience and empowering who we are. So, and Nicole's taking more shots.
Taking more of the substance so I can empower myself.
The substance. You don't need it. Remember, that's the moral
I don't need
story.
it. And honestly, it doesn't taste that good, but it was just sitting here. So. Look, this glass was filled to the top. Do you see how much I drank of the whole glass? So
the ingredients themselves didn't sound bad, but the combination thereof is just a little much.
It's, I think there's too much lemon juice. It's bitter.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I did it exactly what I said, but it's bitter.
Yeah. Not enough to balance it.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's all I've got for today. That was my Halloween episode. Hopefully that was spooky enough for you guys.
Yeah. And then keep listening. We have some other things coming. We have another guest coming up.
Yes.
We will have Thanksgiving and Christmas episodes.
We will.
So we have a lot of wacky stuff for the end of the year. I feel like our lineup for the end of the year is like all over the place in a great way.
And I'm already working on episodes for next year. I just got a book that I'm excited to finish reading and share with you because I think you're going to be obsessed with it. Really fascinating stuff. And yeah, we've got some great stuff planned for...
I literally have a list in my phone of all topics for next year. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be almost the whole year. I've already got them. Like, I'm inspired.
I know. So we need you guys who are listening to leave us comments, reviews, continue to listen and follow, share with your friends because we're really enjoying this and we hope that you guys are enjoying it too.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost at a year. We're at like 10, almost 11 months. This is exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to Medical Media Mixer.
The perfect cocktail. Cheers.
My little skull.
Clink. This tastes gross. I can't drink it. It's all cloudy now.
Well, I know we taste good. See?
That's true. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Medical Media Mixer podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps others find the show. Want to keep the conversation going? Follow us on social media. We're at Medical Media Mixer Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and on Pinterest, the Medical Media Mixer board.
If you'd like to support the show and help us grow, check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. And on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Medical Media Mixer Podcast. If you have a topic idea, feedback, or just want to say hi, send us an email at medicalmediamixer@gmail.com. You can also stream all of our episodes and find more info on our website, medicalmediamixer.podbean.com. We're available on all major podcast platforms, so no matter where you listen, we're there. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep mixing medicine and media.